All right, welcome to another episode of the Last of the Action Heroes podcast. With me today is a very, very special guest. I'm saying this right now for the record. I'm very excited, humbled, and a little bit nervous having Jack with me. Now, Jack is the host of the Drunk Bond podcast. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. You said I'm a very, very special guest?
Very. 2 or 3
Wow,
varies.
okay. 2 varies. Well, man.
Because
right.
You make me laugh. So I don't want to squash your comedic talent, so I'm very kind of nervous because I don't want to infringe upon you and your take on things. So part of me just wants to, like, why don't you just do the podcast? I'll just do like a live reaction. I'll just sit back and you just tell me about this Chuck Norris film, and you just run the show because your jokes and your quips and the way you do things on the Drunk Bond show is really, really amazing stuff.
Could you just leave? Would that just be easier?
Well, probably would be, not only would it be easier, I think our audience would probably prefer it.
Okay, yeah.
Now, do you prep, like, honestly, or the stuff in the clips you come up, do you have stuff written down where I'm going to throw that in, or is it a mix of both?
Yeah, I'd forget too much. Yeah, I have a basic outline. The alcohol can get in the way, though. So heavy editing. I can't stress heavy editing enough. Because if you just listen to it raw, you want to talk about a shit show. Can you curse on this?
Yes, please.
Okay, yeah, it's a disaster, but heavy editing, and then you have something that looks somewhat coherent. Yeah, my show is almost like the anti-podcast because everyone else does so many podcasts, and they're more informed than me, so I just kind of do, I don't know, maybe a parody of a podcast.
Maybe.
That's kind of the best way I could describe it.
I would say your show's entertaining and it's funny, so if your goal is to make people laugh, smile, and even laugh at the product. Now, you do James Bond. That's your podcast. That's your focus. Where did this love of James Bond come from?
The GoldenEye game as a kid. That's how it started. And then we rented the movie at Blockbuster. And so those of your listeners, Blockbuster used to be a place, brick and mortar store, where you'd go and purchase for a short term a video or a video game. But anyway, that's beside the point. And we rented GoldenEye one night and we were obsessed with it. And then TBS did a movie marathon leading up to Tomorrow Never Dies. This was 1997. All these movies, I had no idea who any of these people were. Sean Connery, Roger Moore. I just knew I was hooked, man. So we've just been fans ever since and kind of got back into it in our 30s. So much so that I felt the need to have to do a podcast about it. I couldn't just keep it to myself.
Well, we appreciate the world appreciates it. Again, if you're listening to this show and you haven't checked out and you're a fan of, look, I don't even know James Bond the way you do, and I've listened to every one of your episodes. I've seen
really?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Wow. Okay.
Well,
so you're the one.
No, stop it. You're a very popular show on the feed. So you're part of the Last of the Action Heroes podcast network feed, and I invited you to come and join the network.
The vast conglomerate that is the Last of the Action. It's like Joe Rogan, Bill Burr, and then us.
Oh boy, can you imagine? No. We are small potatoes, but I love the community. I love the people. I love everyone's different styles. And as quote unquote, everyone calls me the CEO, and I'm really not. But as the organizer of this feed, I listen to everyone's shows. I enjoy them all, but for different reasons. You're like my kids, right? Each host has their own thing that they bring to the table. Some are very professional. Right. Well, some are very professional at what they do. They're very, this is the movie, we're going to talk about it. Some are very, we all come from different generations, walks of life, ages too. So, but your show is, irreverent. I would say yours is the most irreverent and the most funny. And I appreciate you.
Oh, appreciate that.
Yeah. Where's your host? Where did he go?
I think he got into some bad drugs and he's on the street somewhere. I don't know I don't know where he is anymore. No, he lives down the street from me. He was best man at my wedding.
Nice.
He's just, he's married, he has kids, and it was just hard for us to get together like on a Saturday and get drunk and like carve out a couple of hours. It's very specific and hard to get through. Like, and I have to tell my wife to leave. That's not going to roll over too well.
Spouses are the worst. In second place are kids, but spouses are the worst. I tell you, I'd have so much easier time and more enjoyable time if it wasn't.
Yeah, man, who needs them?
Yeah, who needs them? Well,
it's enough already. It's been done to death.
What is this show? Well, this show is actually officially called the Last of the Action Heroes podcast. Now, it's part of the network, but basically what this separate little podcast, how I see it, we were covering James Bond, we've got Arnold's shows, we've got Sly shows, of course, we've got all these different, the Bruce Willis, the big guys, right? The big guns, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of action movies out there from the B and C list actors that I think are worth and maybe even fun investigating. And so we've covered Chuck Norris already with A Force of One. We've done Burt Reynolds' Heat. We did Best of the Best. And these are films that quite frankly, I actually enjoyed watching that I've never seen before. So there's a part of me that I'm doing shows on this mini podcast on the feed, kind of designed of these are movies I've never seen. They're lesser known or not as big or what have you. Of course, Chuck Norris is a huge name, very popular, but I would be lying to you if I said I have seen or I go out to watch Chuck Norris films. Do you have any Chuck Norris history, or is this your first time seeing a Chuck Norris film?
What was that terrible movie? He was with a kid like in the 90s. Sidekicks?
Yes, Sidekicks, that's right.
I saw that movie several times.
Oh,
it was
wow.
awful. I don't know why I watched it. I guess I was a kid and it was on, so that's all I needed. No, I'd never heard of Invasion USA. I'd never heard of that in my life, and I was wondering, if you'd ever seen it. I guess not until now.
No, and it's funny when I sent this. This is one of the three choices I sent you. Actually, this is the one I thought you were going to pick. I forget the ones I sent you, but it was the.
Was there Michael Caine in there somewhere?
I think so, and it was like a '70s type movie. I figured because you're a James Bond guy, it looked kind of James like a poor.
Right, I almost picked it,
Yeah.
but then I figured Chuck Norris would be the easiest one to kind of get through.
Yeah, my Chuck Norris knowledge is pretty. I mean, I know the jokes. Of course, I'm a little bit older than you by 10 years. And so in 85, when this film came out, I was 10 years old. I was already watching, like, Rambo, the first Terminator. Like, I was watching these films. And this was, like, right in my wheelhouse of type of films, action films. But it wasn't until I saw this on, I gave you three choices on Tubi. I used Tubi as my Last of the Action Heroes podcast streaming service because it's for my co-host, guest co-host, and for myself. We don't have to pay for anything. It's a free movie.
Right. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I know. No problem. And they have the titles that are kind of fun to investigate. So Invasion USA was the one you chose. I was very happy about this. This is the second Chuck Norris film that we're going to cover on this feed.
What was the first one?
Well, it was called A Force of One.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not that I don't listen to every single episode. My memory's a little fuzzy.
No, it's okay. Look, I understand. I'm probably the only host. Like, I would almost say, and this is my challenge because I'll know nobody will at me after this episode. I'm probably the only host that listens to the other shows. But that's okay. That's my job.
That's hard to do.
Well, there's a lot.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Thank you. Now, I'm surprised, that this was released in the theaters, but not only was it released in the theaters, but when it came out in 1985, it actually debuted at number one.
What?
Yeah.
Slim Pickens that weekend or what?
It must have been Invasion USA in October of 85, so it was October, in between the Christmas movies after the summer blockbusters. Nowadays, there really isn't a bad weekend anymore. Have you noticed that with films? If it's a good film, it can have a box office break at March, April, May, it doesn't matter. But it used to be that May to July was the tent pole blockbusters, but you can have hits now anytime. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe the American Denim Association really plugged it hard, marketing, and then that's why people got out to the theaters and saw it.
Yeah, are you talking about Mr. Chuck Norris's outfit in this film?
I am talking about Mr. Chuck Norris's outfit. It's something. I would like to be in that meeting where they, Chuck, what are you thinking for the character's outfit? What about, let's go with pants? He goes, I'm thinking denim. Okay. What about his shirt? I'm thinking denim too. I'm thinking two denim. Denim on denim.
Oh my goodness.
I'll just slap some boots on and that's it.
And
End of meeting.
Well, not quite the end of meeting just yet. We've got the wardrobe, but now not just that. Mr. Norris, when would you like to have your shirt open and when would you like to have it closed? There's
We can't script that. It's just how I feel in any given scene.
Oh my gosh. You remember when he got quote unquote arrested by the police?
Yes. That was ridiculous.
And he was being interviewed and his shirt was open.
Still open. Why don't you pop those buttons back on, man? There are kids around.
Oh my gosh.
Strange.
Okay, so Chuck Norris was 45 during this film. I don't know if you knew his age.
Oh, no, I didn't. I thought he's like shockingly old. Like in the 90s, he was like in his 60s. I was like, wait, what? 45? Okay, that sounds about right.
Yeah, he was 40. He was 45 in 1985. The film was directed by a man named Joseph Zito. This guy was handpicked by Chuck to direct this film. Have you ever seen any of the previous Joseph?
I think I must have missed those.
Well,
I'm hoping to get the box set for Christmas.
Well, did you see Friday the 13th, the final chapter?
I did not. I'm not a big scary movie fan.
Okay, fair enough. Well, then you probably didn't see The Prowler either.
I did not.
Okay,
no, sorry.
Well, after Friday the 13th, his first collaboration with Chuck was actually the big blockbuster. One we'll probably review on this channel for sure is Missing in Action.
Okay.
This was Chuck Norris's answer to the Rambo film, essentially.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He did his best.
So he directed Red Scorpion with Dolph Lundgren and Joseph Zito, so part of our action heroes. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
okay.
then
Now we're getting somewhere.
yeah, his last movie though, the direct, was actually 2003. He hasn't directed one since. It was an American action film starring, you might have heard him, Dylan Walsh. No,
Dylan Walsh. No, I don't think
Allison
so.
Eastwood, Tobin Bell, and Brixton Carnes. It's called Power Play.
Is he still alive, that director?
Yeah, he's still he's 75, so he might have retired from directing.
Okay, I heard he died. From the sources I have, they said he was dead.
Chuck probably killed him.
Yeah, I think so.
So Joseph Zito directed this film. This was the second and final collaboration between the two actors that are creators. Now this story was written by his brother Aaron Norris, the lesser known Norris.
I saw that in the credits, and I thought surely it couldn't be it's just a coincidence, right? But no, it's an actual family member.
It's his brother.
Man, oh man, these leeches. Just let him do his thing, and he'll send you a check. You don't have to get involved.
Well, Aaron Norris is the Frank Stallone to Chuck.
Right. Hey, you'll get no bad mouthing of Frank Stallone from me, okay? Frank's the real star. Do you follow him on Instagram?
No, I don't. Should I?
It's something.
Oh boy.
It's like just a lot of weird, like videos, Frank playing the guitar or singing a song. And like once out of every 100, he's like, the freaking Mexicans that are coming in. It's like, whoa, where'd you go, Frank? He gets a little hot sometimes.
You gotta wonder if Sly's embarrassed to have him for a brother, ultimately.
Yeah, I don't know. They seem to still have a good relationship. Oh God, who knows, man? That mom's pretty rough looking too. She died though recently, right?
I'm not gonna get through this. Yes, she's dead.
Those lips, man, that was something.
Well, the lips are still around.
Yeah. Those don't decompose.
You gotta wonder about plastic surgery. Does it take longer to decompose in the casket?
I would imagine. Like, what's the shelf life on plastic? Like 1,000 years. So if you dig her up, she looks the exact same.
Oh man, dead. She looked dead when she was like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Sorry. Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest. Of course. Rest in peace.
Thoughts and prayers.
Well, no, let's not get carried away. All right, so Invasion USA is just what you think the title means. There are a group of terrorists, Jack, that are invading the United States.
God.
Okay, okay. Let's talk about how the movie opens. Why don't we talk about how the opening scene? What have we got going on here?
A little boat ride, right? They're leaving the paradise that Castro set up for them in Cuba.
Yeah, Cuba refugees in the middle of the ocean. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The boat won't start, so they're dead in the ocean.
Yeah, and they have a little welcome party arrives, right?
Yeah, the Coast Guard comes. They're cheering, hey, the Coast Guard's here, and everyone, they're really excited about the Coast Guard coming. I guess I would be too. You're American, I'm Canadian, and I might not know much about this, but the Coast Guard, if they did see Cuban refugees, I would assume, do they rescue them, or did they do what happened here?
I guess they just detained them. I'm not sure. Start filling out some paperwork. I'm really not sure what the process is. Or maybe they just turn the boat right back around and say,
told them back, say, yeah, go back.
Maybe next time.
So the Coast Guard arrives, and right away, I admit, I haven't seen this film. I don't know anything about it. I don't know where it's going to go. I haven't seen any trailers. I don't watch any trailers of movies ever. So I didn't know where this was going. I was a little, as the kids say today, I was a little sus. Okay.
What does that mean?
I think it means suspect.
Okay. That's more efficient. That's smart.
Yeah, well, we don't want to waste time on this podcast.
You saved so much time just now.
If I could go back to that. Okay, so I was a little bit sus that the Coast Guards looked very armed to the teeth and menacing. I was like, this is not a friendly rescue group of looking people. What were your thoughts when you first saw the individuals who were playing Coast Guardmen?
Yeah, I was a little sus as well, now that I know what that means. Yeah, they didn't look too happy. But of course, they're not going to be too happy with refugees coming illegally. So,
right.
Maybe they're no nonsense, or maybe they're actually not the Coast Guard.
So the Coast Guard captain says, hey guys, welcome to America. And they all start cheering. Yeah, they like us. They want us here. This is great. The Coast Guard.
Are they?
And I will admit, the massacre of the sea was pretty brutal.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. That one guy on the machine gun, he got really into he got lost in those murders. He was having the time of his life. That one guy?
Yeah. These guys are all armed to the teeth. So you got to figure out, folks, there's about 20 to 30 people in this boat. Kids too, women, kids, old people. And these guerrilla warfare guys, they just open fire like fish in a barrel.
Oh, yeah. Like fishing with dynamite.
Now, what's happened here is these guerrilla, I guess they're they're referred to. I guess they're. What are they? Like, where are they from?
I have no idea. I'm so confused by so many things.
Okay.
But because I mean, like the main villain, spoiler alert, it's like he's Russian, right?
He's Russian, yes.
But then there's also like Hispanic people from I don't know where, and then like Spain. I don't know. I'm all confused, man. I was hoping you would know.
Okay, well, they have people from, I think, South America. There's definitely South America mercenaries with this leader. His name is Michael Rostov, played by the actor Richard Lynch. Now, how long did you take before you Googled why his face is effed up?
I just wrote it down and again was hoping you would know. What the hell's going on there? Is he a burn victim?
He is in real life, yes.
Oh God, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I think it's kind of both fascinating and hilarious because through this whole movie, I'm like, that is some really amazing makeup. They have not.
Yeah, so lifelike.
The continuity has not changed.
Yeah, I was so confused by that. Is he supposed to have some sort of backstory where he just, I don't know, they burn the gulag down in Russia and but no, it's like actually, well, good for him, man. He's a burn victim and he's an actor.
Yeah, so his name is Richard Lynch. He has like over 160 acting credits. He often plays quote unquote the bad guy. He was active from 1967 to 2012. He ended up dying in 2012 of a heart attack at the age of 72, but he embraced the damage from him. But the reason why he's a burn victim was the scars came from a 1967 incident in New York, Central Park. Under the influence of drugs, he set himself on fire.
Ooh, been there.
Yeah, that's a bad weekend.
Yeah, haven't we all?
So 70% of his body was burnt. He spent a year in recovery, but because of that, he gave up drugs and alcohol. He joined the actor studio. He did stuff on Broadway with Robert De Niro, and he spent the rest of his life acting.
Jeez. Well, yeah, if lighting yourself on fire isn't a warning sign, like maybe I need to turn some things around, then I don't know what can make you see the error of your ways. That's impressive, man. Yeah, good for him. And 3 cheers for him. Yeah,
3 cheers for him. And you can say when he entered the acting scene, he was quite hot at the time.
Ryan, don't get cute. Very nice. Hey, I love a pun, man.
Oh, it's dad jokes galore for me. Okay. Uh-huh. All right, so what I want to know here, so we know, what we find out later is that this ship, the Coast Guard ship, it's docked back in Florida port. The police find it, and they discover that the people that were on the boat have all been killed, and they were inside the boat the whole time, the actual American Coast Guardsmen themselves. There was a pile of dead bodies inside the boat during this whole time as well.
Right, yeah, things are getting pretty smelly in there.
Which I find fascinating. So what this movie does that we never see is how often the bad guys, the terrorists, dress up as somebody else in this film.
Yeah, they're just masters of disguise, huh?
But it serves no purpose.
Yeah, I guess they could have just rolled up to him and just killed him anyway.
Yes.
They were all unarmed.
That's right. These refugees, not only were they unarmed, they would have been underarmed compared to what these guys had. I'm just going to call him Michael. I can't say Mikhail the whole time. So Michael Rostov, the Russian leader from Russia, but he's now got South American terrorists, guerrilla terrorists with him. The reason why they took this boat was because they got intel that there was drugs on the boat.
Okay.
Because they used that drug money, so they took the money, or correction, they took the drugs to take it to a drug dealer stateside to get money. Then they could buy weapons, which I find kind of funny because they were armed pretty heavily for it.
Yeah, it seems like they're okay.
But they needed more weapons, I guess is what it was.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering, I forgot about why he went to that drug dealer's house. Yeah, who's that, the villain from The Untouchables?
Yeah, Drago. His last name is Drago.
Okay.
I think it's Billy Drago. Yeah, Billy Drago.
Yeah, he's just got a mean face, man.
Yeah, he's one of those guys when you see him, you're like, oh, yeah, he was in The Untouchables, he was in Clint Eastwood's Pale Rider. He's just got that face.
He's a villain, man. He's just a villain.
He got to be typecast throughout his career as a villain without lighting himself on fire in the process, though.
Yeah, he didn't go that far.
Now, before we get to the drug dealer, because that's an interesting scene, the scenes that I wish they showed, but they never do in this film, is them taking over the Coast Guard ship, them taking over the police car and the policemen in their uniforms, because they basically commandeer all these things to play dress up.
Yeah, these are like big moves that we should probably be seeing. But no, it's just like, oh, nice and easy. Not a scratch on them.
Yeah.
They just took over. Yeah.
But not only nice and easy, but in real life would have been very complicated and would have alerted, like, hey, where's squad car 512? I don't know, they haven't reported it in yet. Well, maybe we should pipe them. Well, the APB right away on a missing squad car is probably pretty quick.
Yeah, this would be a difficult task. Maybe that's why they didn't show it, because it's impossible.
And not just that, it's unnecessary because everything they did after becoming police officers or army men or Coast Guard, they could have done the same damage without playing dress up.
Yeah, but you know what they have? Showmanship. Okay? They look good. You look good, you play good. Okay? And that's why you're not a terrorist, because you don't do stuff like that.
That's true.
But if you adapt to that kind of mentality, then you get some things done. Illegal things, but you get some work done.
So do you want to talk about Rostov and his taking his drugs to the drug dealer sequence?
Sure. When he turns on him, that is something. Yeah, I forgot about it. That was a hell of a death from that woman. So what happened? She was doing coke, and he smashed her head.
Yeah.
And her coke, what is it called? Like a coke
straw.
I don't get into hard drugs, man. I just like alcohol. And then just throws her out that window. That is wonderful.
Did you notice that every female that was assaulted in this film had their hair pulled? It was a lot of hair pulling in this film.
No, I didn't notice that.
Every single female. Like, there was a lot that got attacked. She was the first one to be killed and attacked. A lot of female attacks in this film. They all got their hair pulled. It was always a pull.
All hair. Okay, I'll put that in my notes.
In fact, you can actually say it was this film that changed the hairstyle of females. That puffy hair was an easy grab for males.
Is that right? Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, and then they just throw her on the street. And I'm sure those cars are like, what is the holdup up there? Oh, it's a dead, coked up whore. That was okay. That was what was stopping the traffic.
Yeah, she was the. What I liked about her character was that she was like this switchblade knife wielding, badass female to the drug lord that Rostov went to, which played by Billy Drago. And he's sitting at the desk and he's like, hey, girlie, taste the product. Make sure it's okay. So she puts it on the desk and does, the classic. And she is doing like 7 lines. She did
yeah, she's getting after it, just like one after the other. Like she just never stops. Again, now I don't know how coke is usually done, but I don't think it's done like that.
That was a lot.
It's a lot.
I mean, I've seen.
But she's experienced, man. She knows. Hey, it's not my place to tell her how to do it. I'm sure she knows what she's doing, but seemed a little odd.
So you remember that scene, of course, in Batman? I think it's.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought of. The Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he stole that. They stole that. Christopher Nolan stole that scene from this movie, Invasion USA. Instead of the pencil in the eye, this was the snorting straw.
Coke straw, yeah. Is that right? No kidding. Yeah, it was like crazy similar. So yeah, I guess that makes sense.
We can say right now that Christopher Nolan stole Joseph Zito's idea.
Yeah, there you go. That's something he can take to his deathbed.
And did you notice how many times people were shot in the penis? I mean,
yeah, man. Like, just puts a gun down his pants. That's not, that's. Say what you will about this movie. It's creative, man. Like, I've never seen that before.
Well, what are we saying about this movie? Have I even asked? I should ask. Did you have fun watching this movie, or did you not have fun?
I did have fun watching this movie.
Okay, all right.
I'm not going to say that I might revisit this movie.
No,
but I had a good time with it, and isn't that all you want?
Exactly. This movie was so over the top and so crazy and so insane that I thought I was watching a hard R parody of an action film.
Yeah, I guess those movies have become so cliche now. Like, we make fun of it. So to actually sit down and watch one, it's like, oh wow, this was real. Like, they actually made movies like this.
They did.
It's like so crazy and over the top. It's like, wow.
Now the terrorists have money. They got money. I guess.
All right, step one.
Now
the hard part's over.
Yeah. No more dress up. Oh no, we have more dress up coming. This guy Rostov, I guess it was in some African country, and he was going to blow up, I guess, some delegate there. Do you remember what country he was in? I can't remember.
Was that like the kind of the dream sequence type thing?
Well, that was a flashback. It was a flashback to.
Oh, it was a flashback.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it was a flashback. Sorry, it was a flashback, but his nightmare of a real event. So it was a film flashback. But you're right. In a nightmare sequence. Oh, so you thought he was his dream?
Yeah, like this is gonna happen. I'm like, why would you be assassinating a president though?
Oh, that's funny. No. Come on, now. Get with the program here, Jack. Okay.
You must have watched it with the DVD commentary on. I didn't catch that.
Okay, so for our listeners, Rostov and Chuck Norris, whose character's last name is Hunter, and I love that his last name. It has to be Hunter, right? It couldn't be anything else.
Has to, yeah. You can't go with Smith or Jones.
No, it's got to be. I think it's Matt Hunter, of course. Matt Hunter.
Got to be badass. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Matt Hunter is an ex-CIA agent. So when he was in the CIA, he's retired now. So he's 45. He's already retired. So you can assume, okay, if he did a 20, 25-year career, he joined at 18, 19. That makes sense. Fair enough.
Okay.
So he's retired from the CIA. He had a history with Rostov. So there was a sequence that Rostov was dreaming, but he was dreaming about the past. In that sequence, he was going to blow up some African delegate, but Hunter stopped it from happening. And so they have a history.
Right. Is that the only time they've crossed paths?
It seems like it. And it seems like Rostov is really upset by it.
Yeah, and is obsessed with him. And they've had many run-ins, going back like Batman and Joker kind of thing, constantly thwarted by the same guy. But if this is the only thing, then it
kind of seems odd, isn't it, that he was thwarted by Hunter and I guess arrested, I guess then got released or something, because we don't hear how Rostov was at one point an international terrorist caught by Hunter, but then back out again. Am I?
Yeah, you typically don't get to go out anymore after you try to shoot and kill a president of a country.
Usually.
That's, you're dunzos after that.
But maybe let's just say, because I'm sure Aaron Norris and Chuck Norris, who wrote the screenplay, let's assume that we are to assume, of course, that Rostov being the international terrorist that he is, he escaped. He got out somehow.
Yeah, we never did get that explanation, but that's what happens whenever you hire your brother to write the screenplay.
Too bad we never got a Frank and Sly screenplay.
Now, if they need some funding, I'm their man.
Frank,
that's something I'd watch.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
That's the history, and that's the revenge part for Rostov. But at the same time, Rostov is, well, I guess, incongruent with his hatred of Hunter and what he did thwarting whatever plan Rostov had in the past. Rostov, his goal, correct me if I'm wrong, his goal is to destroy America. Is that correct?
I have, again, I was hoping you'd have these answers, because I'm like, what's he trying to do now? I mean, I know he's trying to kill everybody, but to what end? To be President Rostov? Premier Rostov?
He never says.
Of America? Yeah.
I think if you're by the letter of terrorism, I think his goal was to terrorize the states.
Well, mission accomplished then. He was terrorizing me.
Were you scared? A little bit?
Yeah, a little scared. I was thinking it was only a matter of time before they were going to get to where I live.
How close are you to Florida?
I'm in Louisiana, so, a little too close for comfort.
Are you part of the South, what was it, the South Eastern State Conglomerate, or whatever they called it? Southeastern United States, where they had the big meeting with the the 50 state governors and military officials. They met there at the Georgia Pacific Tower. Are you near that area, Atlanta, Georgia, maybe?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. But no, it was only a matter of time before they were getting to where I lived, and it was getting a little uncomfortable. So even though their plan didn't really work, I guess it did in a way. They did terror. I felt terror.
Okay.
And so the rest of the country.
We'll talk about some of their terror acts because I think they're very important. Now, So we're in Florida. We're in the Everglades. Hunter is Chuck Norris. Should we just say Chuck so everyone knows it's Chuck?
I think it'd be easier.
Okay. So Chuck Norris is living in the Everglades with his friend John Eagle. Of course, his name is Eagle.
Love it, man. Boy, I tell you what, he knows his way around an airboat, huh?
Well, the opening sequences of this is, or the opening sequence of Chuck Norris is he's riding that. What do you call those hovercrafts, or what do they call them?
I think it's an airboat.
Okay, and it's what is it, like 2 minutes of open shirt Chuck just riding the
Everglades? Just him, yeah, just going for a little drive. Those are hard to drive, man. Like, you have to practice that.
He did it well.
Yeah, we have those where I live. Like, they do like swamp tours and airboats.
Okay,
so ridiculous. Don't do it if you ever come down here. Oh, but
why?
Those are not easy to. They're just hot and mosquitoes, and you're just looking at trash. Like, it's not worth your time.
Yeah. So John Eagle, that's what he runs there. John Eagle actually runs his friend Chuck's friend runs a swamp boat thing.
Yeah, like a tour. Yeah.
Yeah. Chuck is retired. He's living in the Everglades. He has a friend named John Eagle, and they have and they go crocodile hunting. What was that all about?
Yeah, I'm not sure what they were doing there. What were they? That might have been when I tuned out. What were they doing there?
Well, they caught a crocodile and then they caged it, and I'm not too sure what the purpose of that was. Were they giving it back to the owner? Were they selling it for meat? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think they just caught it for sport.
Okay.
Just to say he did it.
Yeah, well, it was Chuck on camera handling the croc.
Yeah, man. Does his own stunts. Of course he does.
I think later. I think there's actually a later scene where Chuck was wearing croc boots. So I think we know what happened actually.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I missed
That's
that.
how. That's the final part of the wardrobe. Denim, gator.
Now Rostov and his Nico, his right hand man. Nico is kind of like the voice of reason to Rostov because Rostov is bent on killing Chuck and on taking over America. Nico's like, can we just focus on taking over America? Can we just leave Chuck out of this?
Yeah, like before we get started, let me kill this dude that I have some history with. Like, nah, man. Like, we got a mission to do right now, and who the hell knows where he is?
Well, that's what's crazy about this film. So Chuck is later, of course, recruited by the CIA, and he says, "Fine, I'm going to help you guys with these terrorists that are invading Florida and I guess the rest of America." Because there's hints. Okay, there's hints throughout this film. I don't know if you caught the background dialogue of the radio broadcast. Did you catch any of it?
I never catch anything like subtle or
okay. Because, no, that's fine. And this isn't to put you on the spot. I just wanted to get confirmation that I'm not going insane because I was trying to make sense of this movie in a real world situation. Like America's a big country. Okay. Now, there were a lot of terrorists in this film at one point. I think maybe 150, maybe 200 people. Like they didn't
of his entire that's the most he ever had.
Well, okay? Let's go back. So Rostov and Nico, they somehow get the word out. Hey, we need all the terrorists. It was like a bat signal to get all the terrorists together.
Round them up.
And they landed on the beaches of Florida like D-Day.
Yeah, and just really easily too. And what were those, like that poor couple watching like Merv Griffin?
Yes, they were watching. I think
was that Merv Griffin?
Yeah, it was Merv Griffin, and yeah, they had a portable, which is very great for 1985. So they had this battery-operated rabbit antenna portable TV, watching Merv Griffin late at night, making out, and she was kind of cute. I was kind of hoping for a bikini to fall off, but it didn't.
Yeah, that was the only thing missing from the movie was just naked girls.
Well, there's naked girls in the bars that were not that great.
Yeah,
I literally think they probably shot locals.
Yeah, they didn't even know they were in the movie.
Just another Friday night in the Everglades.
Uh-huh.
So this teenage couple, whatever, they're making out on the beach, of course, and we know something's going to happen. It turns into like a slasher flick, I guess, because Nico comes out of the bushes and just like cold-blooded kills them making out.
Yeah, I mean, not messing around. He didn't like them. He didn't like their TV. Get out of here.
No, he laughed at the Merv Griffin interview. He watched it for a little
I guess he did enjoy it.
He thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah, American TV, man.
And then we hear these engines rumbling or whatever, and lo and behold, on the beach, out comes tens and tens and tens, if not hundreds, of terrorists armed to the teeth, jumping off those boats. What do you call those boats? The ones in D-Day where they offloaded the soldiers onto the beach?
Yeah, they were actually built not far from where I live. Like U-boats?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, U-boats, I think, are subs themselves.
No, it's... Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, they were, of course, famous in Saving Private Ryan.
Right.
So just think, Invasion USA. Well, here we go. Saving Private Ryan. Let's be honest, Steven Spielberg stole this from Joseph Zito as well. I think there's another thing that another director stole from this film.
Can we have a running list of things that were stolen from this movie?
The D-Day attacks from Saving Private Ryan were imitated from this film, and then the straw. In the
I got two so far, but I'm sure there's a lot more.
Okay.
I haven't done all the numbers yet. I didn't have my calculator on me, but I counted about 1,000 guys.
Was it 1,000?
500 guys. Maybe. Let's say 500, 300.
Okay. I think 5 is max. So 5.
And I think the last I checked, the American military has got a few more people than that.
We're going to get to that. Please. Don't get ahead. Don't get ahead. We're going to get to that.
I'm blowing my load too early. I'm sorry.
Okay. So 5 to 600 terrorists storm the beaches of Florida. And then on the highway, perfectly parallel parked, facing the highway, is about 100 trucks ready to take these terrorists to wherever they need to go.
Just different, and all going to different cities, right?
I think that's the idea. I think what we're led to, this is why I was asking if you were listening to the radio, because they were kind of inconsistent. Was it a local issue or was this a nationwide issue?
Well, I heard him say like San Francisco. I heard him say a bunch of different cities.
Okay. So this is what's insane to me. Even if, let's just say there was 1,000, nay, 5,000 terrorists in trucks. There's more than enough policemen in the New York Police Department than there is that many. America cannot be invaded by foot soldiers. Let's be honest.
Yeah, maybe bring a tank maybe bring, I don't know, an airplane. They didn't have anything.
Though they had weapons and they were foot soldiers. That's it.
Yeah. And they had loyalty and they had showmanship.
Well, okay. To their credit, the showmanship later on, what that showmanship did, the only kind of clever thing about this film, I would say, was the police sequence. Now, some of the terrorists, they dressed up as police officers and they went to this, like, I don't know, Cuban party in Miami. They were having this, like, outdoor event. And one of the guys
Right.
is like, hey, you guys always bother us. Typical, people being harassed by the police is what we're led to believe here. Even in 1985, the police were harassing minorities, right?
You hate to see it.
Yeah. So the guys get out of the police car and they just, again, open fire and massacre this party.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. They're like taking over the country like one little party at a time. They killed like 20 kids trying to have a party, and they're like, well, Miami's occupied now. We got it. Let's move on to the next city. It's like, what about like I don't know, the mayor's office or the police force? Like,
Yeah.
you're going after the wrong people, man.
Yeah, this movie is really oddly. It wants you to. Here's the thing. It wants you to believe that America is not only under attack, but dare I say, under siege.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to be a cynic, but I just don't know if Rostov has thought this whole thing through.
What I also find it convenient that Rostov has invaded the same area that Hunter lives in.
Yeah, coincidence there. They just go to his house. How the hell do they know where he lives?
Oh, that's right. Sorry, that's right. We should get to that. So
Is he in the phone book?
Yeah, under Hunter.
Uh-huh. Yellow Pages.
It says retired CIA just to help you out.
Well, by God, there he is.
Yeah, what's the address for the Everglades?
Yeah.
Third swamp from the left, past the.
Yeah, it's just a shitty hut.
What I love is they have four of their own hover boats or whatever. They lay waste to the shack. Of course, they killed John Eagle in the process. So Rostov's men destroyed the shack. But what I love is like we're not going to do a body check to see if he's dead.
Never. That's an ultimate villain move. You just assume it all went to plan. Like, this guy is your sworn enemy, man. You need a body. You need no pulse. You need a doctor on the scene.
Like he hates Hunter. He hates him. But he has him gun like they actually would have killed him. Like, Hunter was not prepared for this attack.
No.
I was half expecting him to
Even
come
Chuck Norris wasn't prepared.
Chuck Norris wasn't prepared. Honestly, I was like, oh, he's going to come out of the bushes. He was legitimately surprised by the attack. So to the writer's credit, Chuck was surprised, and Rostov did not finish it. He did not kick Chuck while he was down. He had a chance to finish Chuck, but he didn't.
Just classic villain blunder, man. You can't do that. You can't, that's why he didn't succeed. You can't expect to oversee all these operations and make little mistakes like that. Sorry.
I said this, I know you didn't listen to the episode, that's okay. But those who did, I did the Burt Reynolds Heat. If you haven't, Jack, I recommend you listen to that episode or at least watch the movie Burt Reynolds Heat. You'll be surprised how amazing that movie.
Okay, I do love Burt Reynolds.
Okay, well, listen to that episode or listen to or watch the film. You'll be, hopefully you'll be entertained by both, but you'll for sure be entertained by Burt.
Yeah.
But Burt Reynolds Heat took place at Christmas time. And I couldn't believe watching this film. I was like, we have another contender for best Christmas movie of all time.
That's right. Yeah, they were singing like Christmas carols over in that neighborhood and decorating the tree and all that.
And in the mall, of course, was Christmas.
Right. Yeah.
So I thought Burt Reynolds' Heat was the actual new Christmas film. I think this might be the best Christmas film ever. Invasion.
You
USA.
think so?
I think. Well, what?
So Move Over, It's a Wonderful Life, Christmas Story. We got a new contender.
Absolutely.
Invasion USA. That's the way you ring in. You celebrate Jesus' birth.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's talk about that mall sequence.
Let's talk about that mall sequence. These poor shoppers. How does it start?
Well, this guy, one of the terrorists, one of the top terrorists that works with Rostov, he's carrying a bomb in a shopping bag.
Right. Okay, yeah. That's the psycho on that big machine gun. That's the same dude,
yeah.
I think.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain again? I guess this is your showmanship, right? There probably would have been an easier way to blow up the crowd. He didn't have to do it quite the way he did it.
Yeah, where does he plant the bomb? He just like leaves his bag?
He leaves his bag, but then some concerned citizen goes, "Hey, mister, you forgot your bag." And it's almost like a Monty Python sequence because the guy holding the bomb now, the concerned citizen, is trying to chase down the terrorist with the terrorist.
This guy really wants him to have his bag back.
He really wants him to have his bag back, and the terrorist is running away from the bomb. So it's kind of a funny Monty Python experience, like or Looney
Right.
Tunes. Hey, you grabbed the mob. It's like the Amco with the Wile E. Coyote getting trapped by the road. He sets up the trap.
Yeah, like Roadrunner.
Yeah, he ends up getting hurt by his own trap. So that's what was happening here.
But I think the real terrorist of this scene was that kid that threw the gum on the truck.
Yeah, what was that all about? That was a
What
weird.
kind of trashy kid with shitty parents? You just throw gum. That's cool. That's what's hot. That's what the kids are doing.
He was pretty proud of that too, and the mall cop
Yeah.
was having none of it.
No, I weep for the future if kids are doing that kind of shit in Miami.
But I love how literally we go from gum stuck on the windshield of a show car to literally the. How many casualties do we have in this sequence? Do you think?
Oh man, a good bit, man. A lot of folks meet their maker in this one.
This film, okay, I don't think I've seen an action film in general, maybe even a slasher film, where there are more innocents that have died than this film. Because not only the on-screen deaths, but if this has happened across America,
Yeah, it's just like everywhere. We don't even know the half of it. And like no remorse, no like funerals, no oh my god, everyone's dead. It's just Chuck Norris is here. Let's move on.
well, that's the thing. People are literally being blown up, houses blown up, malls torn apart and blown up. Yeah, but people are still going to the beach.
Yeah. Well, they got to live their life, man.
That's why you can't be bothered by this terrorism. All right, so this mall gets destroyed to pieces. Now, I don't know if you heard, but this was a real mall, and the destruction was "quote unquote" real, which made kind of for a fun viewing, watching Chuck Norris in his truck driving through this mall, smashing things up and what have you.
Right.
Because this was actually a mall that was getting renovated and deconstructed, so they gave a portion of that mall to the filmmakers, saying, "Destroy what you want. We're tearing it down anyways. You're doing us a favor."
Okay, that's kind of what happened in the Blues Brothers.
Oh,
They destroyed a mall and they were bulldozing it anyway, so they could just ride their car all through the mall. It's kind of what it reminded me of.
oh, nice. Okay, there you go.
Hey, there's a little fun fact for you.
Which one came out first? Oh, I guess Blues Brothers. Oh,
Yep.
Joseph Zito stole something from the Blues Brothers. So
Well, he stealeth and he taketh away.
Joseph.
No, he giveth and taketh away. Sorry.
Joseph taketh to give it away.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, so another terrorist act we want to talk about again is we have a little sequence here of a family putting up the Christmas lights or what have you. Rostov himself and his and Nico, his right hand man, they just drive into this random neighborhood with a bazooka and just start blowing up houses.
Yeah, just one house. Like, what do they destroy? Like 4 houses, 5 houses?
I
And
think
they're like,
about
well,
5 or 6 houses, yeah, just blowing
yeah,
up.
well, we got them. On to the next city. Man, it's a few bad elves making their way into the suburbs.
Oh man, it is so true. We've destroyed a mall. We've taken out 5 homes, and we took out a Cuban party.
Yeah, I like how the dude was about to rocket launch one house, and Rostov's like, "Oh no, allow me. I want to do this. This is gonna be fun. Let's just go house by house across this country, this great land, and just blow it up."
And so during all this time, both Chuck is looking for Rostov because he knows he's behind it now. He's been convinced, and he's rejoined the CIA. But he told the CIA, "I work alone."
Right.
No.
As all action movie badasses have to do.
That's fair. That's fair. But what I don't understand is why is the CIA relying on him so much? Why Hunter? Why can't they say, "Hey, Hunter, if you want to help out, that'd be great, but we can also enlist the 10,000 people we have in the city that are paid to
Yeah,
fight."
and like we appreciate you defending Miami and Atlanta, but like there's also some bad shit going on in like San Francisco and Las Vegas and Chicago. Can we help out a little bit? Or you got all these cities covered?
No, he says, "I've got it. I'll work alone." And
Yeah.
we're almost led to believe we see no action from police.
None. Or the CIA, they're just fumbling around like on their radios, like, "Oh my God, it's happening again," but they're not doing anything.
Yeah, they're always a step behind. Basically, the CIA and the police, all that we see of them is they're there after everything happens.
Yeah, and I know they're missing a couple of uniforms because this dirty terrorist just keeps stealing everyone's uniform. That's the only thing that the cops are doing.
What I don't understand is because Chuck always shows up everywhere they are, so he's there to thwart and or combat the terrorists as they do things. He ends up thwarting many of their stuff as the time goes on, as he starts to realize their next attack. Why doesn't Chuck say, "Hey, I'm getting pretty good intel here where everyone is. You might want to come and join me. We can take these guys out together."
Right. I don't know how he's getting all this. I do like that he doesn't just disarm these bombs. He's like, "Oh, no, we're still going to use the bomb, but I'm just going to blow all y'all up." I mean, if you were disarming a bomb, man, wouldn't you just disarm it and get the hell out of there or throw the bomb away? I
Yeah,
wouldn't turn the screws on them. I wouldn't be that cocky, but of course I'm not Chuck Norris.
Well, no, you're not. Well, nobody is. Let's be serious.
Yeah.
You're getting carried away again, Jack. We can't.
I'm sorry.
We can't compare ourselves to Chuck like that. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now we should talk about that church sequence because that's what you were speaking to. So the terrorists again, a lot of C4 in this film. Very very popular thing.
Oh yeah.
I think it was kind of an '80s thing, wasn't it? C4.
Yeah, it was just fun, man. Who doesn't love a good explosion?
Well, no, I certainly love a good explosion. So C4 is being placed everywhere. There's two C4 events I want to talk about. The first one is the church, even though it's the second one that happened. So the C4 was placed on the church door because people are turning to God, as you would in this situation.
Right.
People are sneaking, as you can see. There are people sneaking to church for safety and refuge and praying to God that this terrorist actions will end. Of course, the terrorists know this, so they put a bomb on the. I love how they just put it on the front door in the back.
Mm-hmm. No one's there. I'm starting to think Rostov isn't a firm believer in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because he just go straight for that church, man.
Yeah, but Chuck knows they're there.
Mm-hmm.
So they place the bomb. They go running back to their truck, or whatever, to quote unquote set the bomb or to ignite it. But think about how quick Chuck must have worked here, because the bomb is on the front door. They go back maybe 20 to 50 feet, or let's say 100 feet to go back to safety, right, from this bomb.
Right.
To ignite it. Now, I would assume they're out of eye line or eyesight of the door because they don't see Chuck taking the bomb off the door here. Because that's happening right now off screen.
Yeah, like unless he has some sort of invisibility cloak. I mean, that's going to be tough to pull off, man. And what city is he in at this point? Like, where are we? I was confused by that the whole movie. Like, where are we?
See, that's what I don't understand. The events start in Florida in the Everglades, and then there's terrorist acts throughout the country. But I think all the Chuck activity still happens in Florida. Then it ends up in Atlanta. The final fight does end up in Atlanta.
Right. He's like Batman, another Batman. He's just going from city to city like it's nothing. I'm like, how the hell are you getting everywhere? And then that journalist or that photographer, she shows up wherever she wants to, man. She's got like terrorist radar on.
Oh, she was terrible.
Yeah, she was horrible.
Her character name was Dahlia McGuire, and played by Melissa Prophet. Now, Melissa Prophet had quite the acting career. After this movie, she starred with, or co-starred, I don't know how big her role was. She played a newscaster again, or newscaster. So she definitely loves the news stuff, right? Mm-hmm. With Carl Weathers and Action Jackson.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, she had 3 years between these gigs. I guess this movie didn't quite get her career going.
Well, she needed her rest, you know?
Yeah. But she ended her career pretty strong. It did end, though. But she ended it strong. She had a part in Goodfellas and Casino.
Really?
Yeah.
Boy, I don't know. I didn't recognize her.
Well,
what part?
I don't know. Buffet Girl #1. Who knows?
Oh, yeah. Who could forget that unforgettable role?
But, interestingly enough, she had a guest appearance playing herself in a documentary about Frank Stallone called Stallone Frank, that is, which I actually interviewed the director of that film.
Have you seen it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, I meant to. How do I watch it? Where is it the best place to watch it?
I'll send that to you offline. No problem.
Okay. Yeah, I've been meaning to see that.
Yeah, I actually watched it, loved it. It was actually directed by my good friend who I've met online because of my Rocky show, Derek Wayne Johnson. He is the director of that film.
Oh, nice.
And it's great. And I will tell you some other stuff offline that I can't say now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, that was her short-lived career. She has 16 acting credits. I guess acting just wasn't for her.
I guess not. She's got a real fucking attitude in this movie, though.
Yeah, she's really a very entitled reporter.
Yeah, and like saves. I think all reporters are kind of like that, man. In movies, at least. But Chuck saves her life at one point, and she gets like pissed. Throws that aluminum top of a goddamn trash can at him. That's not cool. That's not nice.
Yeah, she threw it. Yeah, she literally threw a trash can lid at Chuck.
That could have hurt him.
But yeah, it was a real trash can. That wasn't CGI. That was a real lid being tossed at Chuck. Yeah. I wonder who actually threw it, though. I wonder who threw it off screen.
Think she needed a stunt double to get that throw off?
Well, no, but we see her throw it, of course, the forward camera on her, but then the camera turns on Chuck's back. And we see the lid continue in flight, but I don't think it was really her throw that we see later. It's probably, because you'd have to have a tray. Well, because it was aimed at Chuck's back and it went over his shoulder. But I love how he doesn't even flinch. I think it was supposed to be meant as a comedic moment. Did you laugh?
No, I didn't like that. I did the opposite of laughing because it was disrespectful. And I don't appreciate when people disrespect Chuck Norris, especially when you just saved your freaking life, man. Terrorists had you at gunpoint.
She called him a creep for some reason. Did you get why that was?
Dude, I just soon lasso the moon and try to figure out what she's thinking, man. She's just making some odd choices.
Let's talk about one of the greatest moments in the film.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so this scene made no sense to me. Again, the film wants you to believe that the city and or the country is under siege by terrorists. Fear and terror is in the air. Panic even. Jobs are shut down. Food is being cut short. Highways are closed. Everything's
very
just
scary.
It's horrific, absolutely horrific. Now, it's so terrible that parents are putting their children on a school bus to go where and why are they separating themselves from the children? Can you please explain this?
I think they're just being honest with themselves that they don't like their kids, and they just say, "Can you please just go away and let me live my life?" That's what I took out from it. These are just bad parents.
This is actually one of the most ridiculous scenes in movie history that I've ever seen, and this is me speaking as a parent.
It was insane
because I'm trying to pretend. Okay, let's just pretend where I live right now. Sure, let's just pretend people are attacking. Like the last thing I'm doing is even leaving my house. Fine, I'm going to fortify my home, stay where it's safe, get out of sight, out of mind. Unless, of course, somebody bazookas my home. I guess I'm out of luck with that situation. But
right,
unless the terrorists randomly decide to hit my
head. That's unavoidable, though.
Yeah. But the odds are that there's not enough bazooka ammo to hit every home where I live. But this bus, it's only one bus. I dare say in Florida there's probably more than 30 kids. Okay. But so this group of whatever citizens decide to put their kids on this bus for safety. How is a bus with one adult driving the bus going on the very highways that are apparently a terror zone to who knows
one adult that does not check his mirrors either because he doesn't see those terrorists come up at all.
And so the terrorists, and why are the terrorists after the bus?
Yeah, who knows? It seems like kids, those are easy to get through. Maybe you go with some higher ups, but again, they just been like going after parties and just random people walking around the street, prostitutes. I would go after, I don't know, military, bureaucrats, people in charge, not some kids. Hey, that's just me, though.
Yeah, well,
I don't have a terrorist mind.
Now, so these guys, they drive up next to the bus and they put another C4. They attach a C4 to the bus, and somehow Chuck is on the road too. Is he following the terrorists, or is he shadowing the bus? How does he know?
And again, like, what city is this? Is this still Florida?
I think so. But the previous scene, he saved a neighborhood from the fake army guys. They're dressed up army gear. They took over, of course, army clothes, and again massacred more people dressed as army people, the terrorists. And at that grocery store, the guy was saying, "We don't have any food because of the highways are closed." But then the next scene, we have like 100 cars on the highway driving quite freely.
Mm-hmm. Out of fresh meat and produce. That's the true tragedy. Yeah, it was very confusing, man. Again, a lot of confusing things. A lot of questions, not many answers.
I love the grocery owners. That means we have to limit things to 12 items. Okay, I'll take 12 sirloin steaks.
I mean, 12 baskets.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chuck, he pulls off takes the bomb off the bus and throws it in the. Yeah, so he's using all of the. He's not letting all these bombs go to waste.
That's right. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention I apologize. I'm so excited by Chuck's antics, I forgot. So back to the church sequence. Yeah, he grabs the bomb, goes on top of the building, and then throws the very bomb back on the guys that made the bomb. And then again, these guys put the bomb on the bus. Chuck grabs the bomb off the side of the bus, catches up to the guys in the car somehow on this abandoned highway, which is like apparently trucks with meat can't drive on, but people can drive on. I'm very confused. Catches up to and then puts the C4 on the car, and it blows up. Don't let a good C4 go to waste. That's Chuck's.
What's he say? You lose this?
Yeah. Did you lose this? Yeah.
See, I'm used to watching James Bond movies where like a very smooth, debonair Sean Connery, Pierce Brosnan saying some great little line in a scene that costs more than we'll ever make in our life. So when Chuck delivers a little quip, I'm like, oh, okay, it's not quite the level I'm used to. I don't mean to criticize Chuck Norris, but
it's okay.
He needs to work on it. That's all.
Speaking of James Bond, I wanted to ask you, and I double checked to make sure because I think Richard Lynch would have made a good James Bond baddie.
Richard Lynch, remind me who that is.
That's Rostov.
Oh right, sorry. Yeah. That's how focused I am on the podcast here. Yeah, he would have. But with that face, man, that's a face to love.
That would have been a perfect James Bond type story, something like
I think so.
Bond.
That's a good gimmick.
Like the Bond, the last time we met, you left me in that gas chamber or some, some sort of, like he's an ex, he's an ex M1 or whatever. What do they call those guys? Your agents?
MI6.
Yeah, he's an ex MI6.
Yeah,
right?
they did that. They did that with Trevelyan and Goldeneye, and he had actually burn marks. So I guess.
Oh man, Richard Lynch was probably pissed off when he saw that film.
Well, moral of the story is they stole that from Action Invasion USA.
Oh, that's right. They saw the burnt face.
All roads lead to Invasion USA.
That's fantastic. Now let's get to the end here. But before we do, I just want to say throughout this film, Rostov is trying to find Chuck. Chuck is trying to find Rostov, but they're just incapable of connecting somehow. Don't you find that odd?
Yeah, and it all comes down, like, once you take out Rostov, all the other people are like they don't have a plan. They don't have, like, you take out one person and the whole plan is done.
That's right. Well, there you go. So, another thing that was ripped off. Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien ripped off Invasion USA because...
Okay.
Because once you destroy the Eye of Sauron, or the ring... all the bad guys fall down. Remember that at the end of the Return of the King? They were surrounded by all the bad guys, but once you destroy the ring, all the evil power destroys themselves. They have nowhere to fall, or they have to fall down. So they did that here. Rostov was like that. Once you kill
once
him,
Rostov dies, they all just fall down and
they all
pass
fall
out.
down. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Like all the little robots just disengage.
Do you want to explain to our audience what Chuck Norris's plan was? Because both the bad guys and the good guys, they don't like to do things the easy way. So Chuck has an idea of how to get Rostov out from hiding. Do you want to explain how he does that?
Well, for me to explain it, I'd have to understand it. So, but I can do my best. Of course, we never even like see him hatching that plan. He just like gets arrested by the CIA or whoever that is, FBI, whatever.
It took me a second to realize, why is he watching TV? Because my first criticism of this sequence was, we see Chuck with his shirt open on a hotel bed, watching some, of course, Mars invasion film from the 50s. You get it, wink, wink, wink. The world is being invaded by Mars, and we're watching a movie about an invasion of the USA. You see how clever that is?
So subtle.
Okay. So, and Chuck is chuckling. That was a chuckled Norris.
a Chuck chuckle. Love it.
We don't see Chuck chuckle very often. We got to see it here,
and it's a shame because he looks good. Do you think Chuck Norris smile? I mean, it's like angel tears, man. It's like a blessing.
Did you know that Chuck Norris's tears cure cancer?
I think I read something like that in a medical pamphlet.
Too bad he never cries. That's the problem.
You hate this. It's just a shame. But you got some jokes today, man.
So, I'm trying to keep up with you.
Oh yeah.
So Chuck Norris is chuckling on the bed watching this Mars invasion, and I'm thinking to myself, why is he so relaxed? Doesn't he know that Rostov is out there? And then it dawned on me, this is the plan.
He's got a plan. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, man. You're doing a lot of relaxing for the entire country being invaded, and you're the only person that's like allowed to fight back. So you don't have time for movies.
So the plan is, now here's the plan, Jack. I think I can explain it. The plan was basically to get caught by the police, which the police weren't in on, but the government was. To get caught by the police, and he was arrested. You know what his charge was? He didn't really say it, but he was arrested for vigilantism. He wasn't arrested for being a terrorist. He was arrested for fighting the terrorists.
Right. Well, yeah, you can't take the law in your own hands, man.
No, you're not above the law. You're no Steven Seagal here.
Right.
I mean, Chuck was out for justice, but he's not above the law. And in fact, the guy that arrested him gave him quite a little speech there. Did you catch that little speech? He says, "You know how to do this. You're not above the law. You can't just go around doing this."
That's right, man. You gotta remind them. Gotta remind the folks at home too. It's not a game. You can't take the law in your own hands. The real tragedy too was Chuck's not getting his security deposit back after sticking that gum on the painting. Remember that?
Yeah. Why would a lot of gum on things? What's the imagery for that? Gum on the painting, gum on windshields.
I don't know. I don't like it though.
Okay.
That's one thing Chuck did that I was disapproving of, man.
Yeah,
you don't stick gum places.
No, because the poor maid's got to clean it up, right? Like,
right. You ever see gum under tables and desks, and you think to yourself, "Who the fuck actually does this?"
Yeah,
not cool.
That was actually probably out of everything that Chuck Norris did in this film, that's probably the worst thing he actually did. The worst offense was actually
the gum on the painting.
The gum on the painting. So he gets arrested. Now, during his arrest, of course, he's paraded in front of the press.
Unbuttoned.
And this is when he goes, "Rostov, you pansy, come and get me if you can. Ha ha, if you want to come get me, I'm hanging out at the headquarters of the Georgia Pacific Tower in Atlanta.
Time to die."
So that was the plan. to get
That was
him
the
out of
plan.
hiding, to tell Rostov exactly where he is. And I love how Rostov's, oh, we got him. We finally got him. This couldn't be a trap.
Clearly not. This is on the level. This is exactly what it seems to be.
So the news does say state governors are all around here. Yeah, we're here to figure out how to stop these terror attacks. This is where we're doing it. We're here in Atlanta, at this tower, at this building. And what they've done now, Jack, what they've done is they've emptied the building completely.
Brilliant. Just brilliant.
So there's no, now we finally, after tens of thousands of people dying across the country, finally no more innocents are dying.
And Rostov says, you know what? Hold off on the whole let's take over the country. Every one of my men to Atlanta, Georgia.
That's right. Oh, I forgot. He bat signals again. He does the terrorist bat signal again. He gets everyone in again. So everyone's out there terrorizing the nation, but there's a bit of a reprieve for the rest of the nation as everyone gathers back to Atlanta. I wonder how that worked. Hey, did you hear? Yeah. Stop. Come on, everyone, pack your bags. We got to go back to Atlanta.
I don't think Rostov's familiar with the saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket, because he's got all of his troops in one street corner. So if something bad happens, it's over. It's done.
But what I love here is all the bad guys are together again. They're in trucks, they're in whatever, and they drive from whatever the starting point was. They drive through Atlanta, just shooting like the Wild Wild West, just everywhere.
Yeah, it's like Sherman's March Part 2. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's an American Civil War reference.
Okay.
General Sherman, toward the end of the war, went through Georgia and just took a massive dump and just burnt the whole state down.
Well, that's what they're doing here. Is that what they're doing? Like, who are they shooting at?
I have no idea. But I'm starting, like, at this point and throughout this scene, like, I'm starting to get, like, little, like, mini strokes or seizures from all the gunfire. It's non-stop. It's 15 minutes of just... I'm like, dude, I got to turn the volume. I'll take a little break. Because this is, like...
Can we stop? Can we just
like, I can't think straight.
Can we just stop for once? That last 15 minutes was nothing but machine gun fire.
My wife was in the room. I was watching on my laptop. She's like, can you turn that down? Like, I'm sorry. It's like, it's not my fault. It's Chuck Norris. No matter how low I turned it, it was so loud and just never stopped.
You remember that sequence at the end of Expendables, or in the middle of Expendables Part 2, where Chuck Norris cameos? And of course, that was kind of the joke. Of course, they're playing up the enemy military is destroyed by some, like, where's all that gunfire coming from? It lasts for about maybe 90 seconds or a minute.
Right, yeah.
And the joke was that was a long time. This was literally 15 minutes nonstop.
Yeah, it never stopped. And then, like, peppered with, like, each explosions, constant explosions.
Why is everything so flammable and explode? Why does everything...
I don't know, man. I guess it's just so much fun. Who knows?
So these guys go through, just shoot everything. Then they go inside the building. And I love it. This is a big building. But for whatever reason, we have a sequence where they've narrowed down 3 different doors, and they decide to open up each door one at a time and just shoot whatever might be in there.
Yeah, they don't ask questions later. They just go in shooting.
Oh, because they're looking for Chuck. They're like, where could he be? Where is he?
He has to be here. This can't be a trap.
I love how many floors and doors they open when they realize the building's empty, guys. Like, there's nobody here.
Yeah. I haven't seen a soul yet.
So they yell, "It's a trap!" And so the terrorists literally go running like the building's on fire. The way they run.
Mm-hmm. Like, oh my! Like, that's the one thing that scares them: an empty building.
It's a trap.
See, that's the one thing they're scared of, is an empty building. Let's get the hell out of here, man.
We got to get out of here. Now, I thought, you know what I thought was going to happen? I thought, because the movie is that insane, I thought Chuck was just going to blow up the building with some C4. I thought he was just going to level the building with all the terrorists.
It would have been the most logical explosion of the whole movie. That would have made sense. But no.
Oh, no. What we have, folks, this is insane. This is the most insane shootout. I can't believe this was filmed. This is just absolutely insane. All the guys run out. Okay, so they go up to the parking lot outside the building, and meeting them outside is literally the whole military.
Yeah, everybody. Army, Navy, Space Force, the Marines, name it. They're out there.
Like, they are shoulder to shoulder.
Open fire, baby. Let's go.
Can you imagine waking up that day? Let's say you're like, I'm in the military, but I'm only in the Navy, so I don't know if I would have been invited to this fest. But can you imagine? You're just like some 26-year-old newlywed guy. You're like, hey, honey, I'm going to work today. What do you got? What's going on? Well, we got the.
There seems to be a situation down south, and I need to get there stat.
Can you imagine? Like, so what are we doing exactly? Can you imagine the planning meetings for this military attack? Okay, guys. So here's what it's doing. So Chuck's gonna be. Sorry, I can't.
So you're saying one man is leading this up, and he's not military? Correct. He's gonna be in denim.
Yeah, yeah. Don't shoot the guy in denim. That's.
Mm-hmm. I can't stress this enough. Do not shoot the man in denim, but shoot everyone else.
I can't, Jack. I can't do this. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. So the guys come out. Of course, the terrorists come out. The man in denim is still inside the building. Okay. The army is shoulder to shoulder, tanks, everything, behind sandbags. And then the terrorists, they don't shoot. Granted, the military doesn't shoot first. For whatever reason, the terrorists at that moment could have surrendered. They could have put their hands up and said, okay. We're literally outnumbered 100 to 1. We're good. We're surrounded. They have, not only that, they have the higher ground. The military literally had the higher ground. They're on top of buildings. They're in sandbags. They're in tanks. There's helicopters.
This is kind of what I thought would happen about like an hour ago in the movie. Like the military would just squash them instantly.
Exactly. That's exactly the thought I had.
Just took longer than expected.
No, you know why? Because everyone was put on. The whole nation was waiting for Chuck to take care of it.
That's true. Yeah, I forgot about that little detail.
Remember what Chuck said at the beginning? I work alone. The whole nation took that under advisement.
He's like Clubber Lang, man. He lives alone. He trains alone.
Oh my gosh! So one terrorist decides, well, you know what? Screw this. I'm gonna go out fighting like a man. So he takes a shot at one of the helicopters. So they all start shooting the helicopters, and the army's like, well, that's it. Open fire, and they open fired for another 10 minutes. Just would not stop fighting.
Night.
And then inside, we have a little bit of Chuck, of course, taking out Batty here, Batty there. Clever little ways. Very little karate by Chuck. Did you notice that?
Yeah, that was disappointing. I want to see those moves, man. I know Chuck knows his way around a gi. He knows his way around the dojo, and I want to see it.
What he is very good at is knife work and, may I say, double Uzi work. Now, can you explain the advantage of doing that or not?
That guy can shoot some guns, man. The double Uzi, and then it's like strapped into his. It's like attached to him, right?
Yeah, he won't drop them. He's definitely not going to drop them.
Right. Yeah, well, it's like an extension of him,
He can roll around, jump in the air, and those things aren't going anywhere. It frees up his hands, but keeps his weapons at his side, ready to go. That's true. It's very clever.
You know what that is? It's sensible.
Chuck doesn't.
It's downright sensible.
And I do appreciate they did show a couple times some weapon reloading. I do appreciate that. Keep it keep it realistic.
Right. We have just those clips that have 600 bullets.
And did you also notice like different cuts in that final sequence where he just happened to have different weapons on him at different times? They kind of randomly, like in a video game, you can just bring up another weapon. He had that ability. Yeah,
and whenever you're playing a video game, you think, God, I wish I could do this in real life. Well, Chuck got to do it in real life. He just thinks up a weapon and it appears in his hand.
So at the end of the movie, he faces Rostov. They do face each other face to face, some hand to hand, and there was very little Rostov. Let's just say, as much as a criminal and terrorist mastermind that Rostov is, not a very good hand-to-hand fighter.
No, and like being the one person who's essential to the mission, he doesn't mind getting his hands dirty, man. He's making the sausage. He's on the ground with these people, planting bombs himself. It's impressive.
So the hand-to-hand fight ends pretty abruptly. Tell us how Rostov was killed. I think that's pretty amazing.
Old Chucky boy approaches him from the back, says, "Time to die." Rostov tries to whip around his rocket launcher, but a rocket launcher is not very conducive to whipping. And as he's doing that, he just gets blown up. Stop me if you've heard it before, but he gets blown up. And then the movie just ends. Just no like, hooray, or he gets to have sex with the photographer or something. No, it's just...
Yeah, Chuck doesn't mess around with the females, eh? Like you could tell that this reporter... I'll remind you of her name because I don't know why she was in the film. Dahlia McGuire, the reporter.
Yeah, I'm not sure why she's here.
She was taking photos.
Yeah, we never see because she's like on the press. I'm gonna blow the lid off this, but like we never see the fruit of that labor. Like that she's the one that's bringing them down. Like I don't know what the point of her is.
She was hot for Chuck, though. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, can't blame her there.
No. We also forgot to mention during the mall sequence, the terrorists were chased by Chuck when Chuck was in the Chuck truck, chasing after the bad guys. The bad guys were holding a hostage, another woman by the hair, holding her outside the truck. Did you catch that? They're holding this poor woman by the hair during this truck ride.
Oh yeah, outside the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell was that?
Well, what happened was
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so the fight from the mall spills out into the parking lot of the mall,
Right.
which I love. People were still going to the mall. There was like people still walking into the mall to go shopping. But
Well, it's Christmas, man.
Yeah, I guess the whole store wasn't destroyed. There's other places they could shop.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they just hold, like, why not just let that woman go? Who cares about her?
they were pissed off because the woman said, "Hey, what you guys are driving really poorly in the parking lot." They get mad. They got mad at the terrorists for driving poorly in the parking lot. And the guy said, "Go, I'll show you," and grabbed her by the hair and dragged her for a little bit of a joyride.
Well, then just kill her.
I think that was the first Karen.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think that was the first Karen caught on film.
It all starts at Invasion USA. Said it before, I'll say it again.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so there you go. That is the end of Invasion USA.
And I guess we won, right?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I guess we're led to believe that all the terrorists left their stations and did come here to the hub of Georgia, and they surrendered. They eventually did surrender to the army there.
Right. Well, good for them.
The movie cost $12 million. Producers were so happy with the dailies, they actually upped the budget a little bit for Chuck and Aaron.
Nice.
Yeah. The box office alone was $17.5 million. So it did make its budget back. So it started strong at the box office, but I guess word of mouth got around that this wasn't quite the invasion they were hoping for. I guess
Yeah, maybe skip that one.
some reviews here from Roger Ebert gave it a half star out of 4.
Oh, come on, Raj.
Yeah, he called it a brain-damaged, idiotic thriller, not even bad enough to be laughable. And I take offense to that. I think you and I had a good laugh. What do you think?
I did have many good laughs.
Yeah. But Chuck said this about the film. He said, referring to some of the sequences that we quite enjoyed, he says it was a little too much, he says. You see, when you're making a movie, it takes over 5 months. Not until you bring it down to an hour, maybe an hour and a half, do you see what you've done. It was too much, unfortunately. So I think he was even talking about the violence there.
It's like when George Lucas watched Phantom Menace for the first time, he goes, I think we might have gone a little too far in some places.
Maybe a little less Jar Jar next time.
Yeah.
The movie was made into a book. You can buy that from Pinnacle Books if you want.
Oh, man. Well, you didn't tell me that.
And there's also, if you enjoyed the sound, did you enjoy the movie soundtrack there, Jack? Well, if you did,
I'm trying to think of some of the music in it.
Well, if you did, you can buy a remastered copy that has new material on it as well from Entrada Records. There's only a limited edition of 1,000 copies, so you might have to pay a penny on eBay to get a copy.
I'm fine with that. Worth it.
Okay. Now, speaking of the reporter, did you know who was supposed to be cast as the reporter who Chuck wanted and actually tried to get on the film?
Was it a woman by the name of Whoopi Goldberg?
Correct. Chuck
Hey,
wanted Whoopi.
I did my research. You proud of me?
Yeah, I am very proud of you. So Chuck wanted Whoopi on the movie, but guess what? It was Joseph Zito that nixed it, and it was because of that Chuck said, I'll never work with him again. That's how much he loved Whoopi.
Man. And man, whenever Chuck Norris is disappointed in you, that's like the ultimate. It's like your parents being disappointed in you.
Yeah, isn't that crazy though?
Yeah,
Chuck
you just
said
don't
this.
move on.
He said,
like, why was he so hooked on like Whoopi Goldberg has to have this shitty role?
Well, apparently she played an extra in the movie that we've already reviewed, A Force of One. I missed that where Whoopi was. She must have been really a background character.
Okay. Yeah, why was he so adamant on Whoopi Goldberg?
Odd. It's very odd.
And I mean, he's not the director. Like, it's kind of not his call.
Oh, well, slow down. He wrote this movie. He's the creative mind behind it.
Okay, right. How could I forget? Sorry, Chuck.
Well, that is the end of this film. Thus, the end of. Oh, sorry, I should say this did receive a approval rating. You want to guess what it got on Rotten Tomatoes? You want to guess? 22 reviews. What's the percentage?
36.
Not bad. Just divide that by 2.
Okay, 18.
Yeah, I think that's unfair.
Well, what would you give it out of 10?
Okay, we obviously know. Obviously, this movie is ridiculous. We get that, but I had a blast watching it. I think this is a movie that you have to watch. I don't think you could be... Look, if you're listening to this review on our feed because you are an action film fan, and this is talking to Ryan, me, because I am an action film fan, I did myself a disservice not watching this film many moons ago. This was a fun, fantastic film, and I probably enjoyed it more now than I would have at 10. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it does its job. It serves its purpose. Like, it's a fun hour and a half. Bad guys comes, time for Chuck Norris to kick some ass. God knows there's a lot of explosions and gunshots. You know, It's a good popcorn time.
Yeah, good. I don't know. I don't like to necessarily give movies a score per se, but it's funny.
You don't want to be locked down,
Well,
locked into
no,
that?
it's just such a weird. I find that weird. I don't know how to do it because it is just what it is, right? It's campy, it's fun. But I will say it's so over the top in its violence and gratuitous violence, and like not gory. It's just so many dead people, innocent people are. I think there's more innocent deaths than bad guys.
Yeah, you might be right. So maybe the terrorists won, man.
I think they did. We can't let that happen.
No.
There was a sequel planned, but Chuck Norris turned it down. It was given to Michael Dudikoff instead.
Michael who?
I think it's Dudikoff. Is that how you say his name?
I have no idea. Why did that make you laugh?
Oh, yeah, Dudikoff. Because if Chuck Norris is a B, C list, Dudikoff is like D list action star.
He's
Have you
kind
never
of
heard?
toward the middle of the alphabet.
Have you never heard of Michael Dudikoff?
No, man.
You never heard of American Ninja?
Yeah, I've heard of that. I just didn't know.
He's the American Ninja.
Oh, okay.
He's like
I never.
he's like the poor man Scott Adkins. Okay.
Even though I'm on a network called the Last of the Action Heroes Podcast Network, I'm not a huge action movie buff. Believe it or not.
Okay, that's fine. We'll make one out of you.
Okay.
I think Invasion USA, you're on the right track here.
Yeah, you keep having me on, man. I'll get there.
Well, speaking of which, as we close, I do want to. You can say no if you want to. I can just edit it out. But I'm starting the Rambo podcast called "It's a Long Road," the Rambo series podcast. And what I'm doing on that one, I don't have a set co-host. I'm rotating hosts, people that basically people that I want to work with and talk with, but also where people don't have to feel like they have to do it every single episode type thing. So I want to invite you to join me on an episode in the future of First Blood.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Okay.
But Ryan, I got to warn you, you're going to start to run out of free time, man. It's so many podcasts.
Well, I know it's ridiculous. I'm hoping that I do it enough of it that my wife will divorce me. Then I'll have all the free time in the world. That's the.
There you go. Hey, if you love it, then good for you, man.
No, I do enjoy it. It is fun. And I want to say one more thing. Sorry, before you go, I meant to say this at the beginning. You guys covered the Rocky films on the Drunk Pod. You and your old co-host, and that's how I got to know you. Because what I did when I first started doing podcasting, of course, I listened to podcasts myself, and I was like, I wonder how other people are handling the Rocky movies. Because I dedicated a whole podcast to the franchise, and so I'm kind of curious how other people are doing it. And I was like, I'm feeling pretty good as I listened to other reviews. I'm like, I'm doing pretty good compared to other people. I've got to be honest. And I listened to your guys. I was like, oh my gosh, these guys are killing it. Your reviews of the Rocky films are just fantastic, funny coverage. Now, I like to be funny, but your coverage is so over the top and funny, and also very reverent to the material too. Like, you can tell you guys are fans, and I know you're a big fan of those movies, and you do a great job of both paying respect and also calling out the crap. It's if you haven't already, folks, check out the Drunk Bond podcast on our feed. Check out the Rocky coverage on our feed. It's absolutely outstanding.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I'm probably a bigger Rocky fan than I am James Bond, honestly. Like, Rocky's my favorite movie, Rocky 1.
That's crazy.
So yeah, that was a blast to go through. I wish they had more movies I could have gone through.
Yeah, that's fun. All right. Well, you're an awesome guy, Jack. Thanks for hanging out with me and taking time out of your day.
Ryan, appreciate it, man. Anytime.
All right. We'll talk soon. Thank you, brother.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.